What if I just... How's that feel? Does that feel good? Are you too close? I'm a whole mess. Hi! It's been a while since I sat down and chatted with you. You know what? I'm gonna put something in front of that wire. Every time I sit down, I think I'm ready to do this, and I never am. I feel like this is weird. Hi! It's been a while since I've sat down and talked about books, so I am doing a wrap-up. Normally in my videos I talk about each book as I'm like crocheting the stripe for it. This time it's going to be a little different. I already crocheted it. I've just been a little busier than normal because I started a new job, so all of the crocheting for this is done. This is for the months of June and July. That's for a couple reasons, because I've been busy, but also because I didn't read very much in June or July, really. I read 9 books during the months of June and July. They vary. I had some really good reads and some good reads and some fine reads. I actually don't have them sorted right now, so give me a second while I put them in order. We're in order. We're in order. And we're ready to talk about them. My book blanket is genre-based this year. This is a wattle stitch. Each book gets 2 rows, and the color is determined by the genre of the book. I have this brown for horrors and thrillers. I have this pink for fantasy. I have, see if I can get this heathered brown for lit fic, anything that doesn't really fit in my genres. White is romance, and then I do have just one book that is a light pink, which is nonfiction. Hopefully I can fix that this coming month, but for now that's all I got for nonfiction. The first book that I read is a romance in white, and that is Heartstopper Volume 2. I read Heartstopper Volume 1 at the very end of May, and that was a reread for me. This was brand new for me. Loved it so much. So sweet. I don't read a lot of graphic novels, mostly because in my head it's like they're so pricey for sitting down for an hour to read them most of the time. And I don't know, I need to fix that in my brain, because the artwork and everything, like, I revisit it, it's so beautiful, the story is so beautiful, the romance is so beautiful, the characters are so great, and like you just get this warm cozy feeling when you're reading this, and I would love more graphic novels. I have not continued onto Volume 3 yet. I want to. It's so hard not to just like immediately binge the next volume. So this is a romance. It was a white stripe, and I'm giving it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars. I still remember like the giddiness that it makes you feel, you know what I'm saying? The next book I read, not 5 stars. The next book I read in June was The Watchers by A.M. Shine. I don't know if that's a pen name based on the like content of this book. I give this 2 stars. This is this lovely brown stripe right here. That's this book. It was a book. It had a beginning and a middle and an end. I was excited for this because I liked the premise. I loved the trailer for the movie is what got me to watch it. Dakota Fanning is what got me to watch it. Read it. I haven't watched the movie yet because I was so disappointed in the book. I read this, and I knew everything that was going to happen 100 pages before it happened. And I mean everything. There was not one thing that surprised me in this book, and I'm not saying that's necessary for a horror, but it is necessary for this book. It's very clear that the author is like including things as hints, but it's so obvious that it's infuriating. So what I'm remembering is the most predictable, infuriating reading experience. There were some parts that were genuinely like scary. It's plain as day what's going to happen, and that's not my cup of tea, so I gave it 2 stars. I'm done with it. It felt so much longer than it actually was, but it's over, and I will not be reading the sequel, and I will be probably watching the movie when it's free. The next book that I read, I have in a reading log. It's this white stripe right here, and it is 7 Days in June. Loved it. This is getting 4 stars from me, which is high for a romance. Usually I give romances 3 stars. A 5-star romance is rare, and a 4-star romance is really, really good for me. I really loved Eva and Shane. I loved both of the characters. I wasn't totally convinced of the pairing of them 100% of the time. But this had such an amazing reconnection and a second chance. This is what sold me on second chance romance. I get it now. I was so skeptical about that trope, but this book cemented that as something that I like. Especially when you're getting both timelines, it's nice to have the tension of re-meeting each other, and you know, and I know that there's tension there, and it's palpable. That delivers in here. This is about Eva and Shane, and they had 7 days of romance when they were in high school, and now that they're grown adults, they are meeting again and falling back in love, presumably. They are both authors, and kind of Black literature is something that is talked about a lot in the book, and the importance of representation and the importance of Black love. In Eva's case, she's a romance writer, and also Eva has chronic pain. She has migraines. She has chronic illness, which is really great representation as always. I love this a lot, but I don't think about it very often, which I guess is probably most of the reason it's not 5 stars. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, if I didn't say that. Which I didn't, because why would I? I don't know what I'm doing. Listen, from now on, this is going to be totally comprehensible, and I'm going to make no mistakes. Okay, the next book that I read in, I don't know if it was June or July, it was a horror. It's the start of this, nope, it's not. It's this single line of horror here in brown, and that is The Honeys by Ryan Lasala. This was 5 stars. This was fantastic. This is exactly what I needed in a summer horror. We have a main character who is gender fluid. He has a twin who dies, and he goes to the summer camp that she was going to basically investigate, and he finds weird things happening. You know what I mean? It's not the most welcoming space for a gender fluid kid, and they just kind of investigate. They get sucked in. It's giving midsummer kind of vibes. Honestly, it's if you mixed Midsummer and Heredity a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. And it's so good. It's so good. This is YA horror, and I'm not really much of a YA horror person. I haven't read many YA horror that I really loved. I loved this. I loved this. I loved this, and I loved Mars. I love Mars so much. I can't recommend it enough. Even if you don't like YA horror, I think you should try it. And if you do try it, you should try the audiobook. The audiobook was so, so, so good. It has sound effects for when he's in camp. You can hear crickets chirping at night. You can hear bees buzzing and screaming. I loved it. I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved it. That is the 4th book. The 5th book that I read is this line of Heather Brown, because I don't have any real genre to put it in, and that is Tiny Pretty Things. This is a YA contemporary. I went through a ballet phase again. There are times when I get obsessed with 2 things. I get obsessed with tennis and I get obsessed with ballet. I can't do either of those 2 things, but I love those two sports so much. I read this when I was rewatching Dance Academy. It kind of works with Dance Academy. It's a little more like morbid and dangerous, I guess. But it's basically YA contemporary drama that you would expect of the ballet world. I don't know if I'm going to read the sequel. I gave this 3 stars. There's like minor plot, but mostly it's just drama and some romance, and it does give Dance Academy vibes, but you don't get to see the dancing, so that's maybe why it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. But yeah, I liked it, and I liked that it was multi-POV. Now I got some horror. We're back to horror. I really went like back and forth, like horror, something else, horror, something else. I don't own this book physically. I got it from the library, but it's this first line of brown next to this one, and it is The Elementals by Michael McDowell. 5 stars. If I could give it 6 on Goodreads, I would. This is the first time I read any Michael McDowell. Elementals is about a family who live in Alabama, and the mother matriarch basically of the family passes, and after that they decide to go and spend vacation at their beach house. Beach mansions to kind of grieve and recover. So they go here. It's very isolated. There are 3 mansions. One side of the family owns one, the other owns the other, and then there's an abandoned mansion where a large dune is slowly taking over. This was the best haunted house story I've ever read, and I think will forever be the best haunted house story I've ever read. Perfect for summer. I was sweating reading this, and I can't emphasize enough how much I love this story, and the characters, and the plot, and the ambiance. It was one of the best reading experiences I've had all year. I can't wait to read more Michael McDowell. Fully ready to just pick up the Blackwater series, even though it's how long. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It was so good. Okay, I have 3 more, so bear with me. The next is a thriller. So it's this other side of this little chunky brown stripe. I read The Club, I read The Club by Ellery Lloyd. Okay, this is about a celebrity club that's super exclusive, and it's on an island, so like there's some isolation to it, and stuff goes down. People end up missing, and it's suspicious, and everyone's stuck there and freaking out. So there are elements of this that I really, really loved. I love celebrity thriller stories when I'm just there for the drama. I'm just there for the excitement. The biggest problem I have with this is it's set in October. Look at this cover and tell me that is set in October. Like, this should be like a summer book. Why are you putting an island vacation story in October? I just don't get it, but it was fine. I don't remember the ending. Don't ask me what it is. And it's 3 stars. Next is a banger. This is the only fantasy that I've read in this summer, actually in a long time, based on how far it is from Another Pink. I read The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. This was so good. This was 4 stars, only because of the length of it, really. I started to flag a little at the end, and the ending wasn't really my favorite either, but I was not planning on annotating this. I got this from Kindle Unlimited, and I read on my Kindle, and I was just highlighting and highlighting and highlighting. So then after I highlighted, I'd go back and I'd tab, and this is the result of that. So good. So good. Basically, this follows Colette, and she is an artist. She is also immortal. She is a vampire. We follow a timeline as she's in her adult life. We also follow a timeline starting from her childhood and going like up to her adult life. So it's kind of bouncing back and forth between 2 timelines. between like a backstory and a current story. Colette is amazing. It's about her. There's so many themes to this. I'm sorry. I'm getting overwhelmed because it was such an emotional roller coaster reading it. But there are themes of like humanity, mortality, what death means, what makes life worth living, and the connections that we make with our families. And even though we're going to lose them in situations, what is worth holding on to, what is worth learning. And there is art, and there is painting, and there is joy and sadness and bitterness and anger and everything. If you are into like sad girl books, here is one. If you're into sad girl vampires, here you go. I haven't read Addie LaRue, but I feel like this is probably similar to Addie LaRue. I feel like vibes, it's probably pretty similar. 4 stars. I can't stop thinking about this. This is my favorite quote. The events of tomorrow are never early. Nothing comes to pass late. And that was just, I know that doesn't sound super profound, but like it's just like something that I've been thinking about a lot, is being in the moment and like things happening at the time they're supposed to happen. And like that's all they can do. They can't happen at a time they're not supposed to happen. Whatever. It had a really big impact on me. I don't know if it's because of the time that I read it or because of what it is, but 5. No, I didn't. 4 stars. Honestly, it might be 5 stars. It might be an emotional 5 stars. The last book that I read is this Brown Stripe for Thriller, and it is Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lapina. I listened to most of this. This was the most fast-paced thriller that I've ever read in my entire life, but each chapter is like 5 pages average, maybe 3 pages average, like so short, so fast, and the pages look like this. So like, I don't know. Basically it was fine though, other than being just a really quick, fun read. I don't remember it. Oh yeah, I kind of remember the ending vaguely and not being super thrilled by it, but it's kind of more feels like a mystery than it does a thriller, to be honest. I think that's partly because of how many characters we have and how we don't really know who is doing the thing. Let me tell you the premise. How about I do that? There are 3 siblings, and their parents are brutally, violently. So they are under investigation by the detective, which we also follow. And basically we have no idea who did it, because there are these kids. I mean, they're adults, but they're the children of the dead parents and their spouses, respectively. And there's just a really large cast of characters in here. And I think that's what makes it feel more like a mystery than it really does a thriller. The ending I didn't find super satisfying. I didn't find it not satisfying. It was just an ending to a thriller. Very average for me. The only thing of note is that it's so fast-paced. I would read more from Sherry Lapina. I just don't know when that would be. I don't have anything on my radar at the moment. So yeah, this gets 3 stars from me. And that is all the books that I read in June and July. This is what my blanket is looking like right now. Pretty cozy. I'm liking the colors. I'm happy with the variation I have in stripes. I just feel like maybe the 2-stripe ones, where I read one single book, is a little too narrow of a stripe. But it's a blanket. It'll be cozy, it'll be warm, and it'll make me think of all the wonderful books that I read in 2024. So I'm about halfway done in my reading goal, which means halfway done with the blanket, but I'm looking forward to seeing like the finished result. I really have to go in and weave the ends, but I don't want to do that. I know I shouldn't leave them all to the end, but I probably will. Of course I will. That's what I always do to myself, and then I get mad at myself for doing that. That's everything. So these are all the books, most of them, that I read. Thank you so much for watching. hopefully I will see you next month. As always, my socials are in the description below. Please like, please subscribe if you want to hang out with me some more, and I'll see you next time.